Welcome to SuccessCraft, where we break down the greatest success stories of the world's most innovative companies and entrepreneurs. If you're looking to learn how to take your business or idea to the next level, hit that subscribe button and join us as we explore the path to success. Imagine this. Two young guys struggling to pay rent in a crowded city decide to rent out air mattresses in their apartment to make ends meet. Sounds simple, right? Little did they know, this tiny idea would go on to disrupt an entire industry, change how we travel, and create a global company worth billions. This is the story of Airbnb and how it went from an air mattress to a world-changing business that revolutionized hospitality. The struggle before the spark. Our story begins in 2007 with two roommates, Brian Chesky and Joe Gebbia, living in San Francisco. Both were struggling to pay rent after Brian had just moved to the city. Joe, a designer, came up with a simple yet unconventional idea. Why not rent out their apartment to travelers during a design conference in the city when hotels were fully booked? They didn't have spare rooms or luxury accommodations, just air mattresses, hence the name Air Bed and Breakfast. They put up a basic website, advertised their apartment, and three guests showed up. They didn't just offer a place to sleep, though. Brian and Joe provided a full experience, including breakfast and local advice about the city. This small experiment showed them one important thing. People were willing to pay for unique, affordable lodging. The struggle to get traction. Despite their initial success, Brian and Joe quickly realized that turning this into a sustainable business was going to be much harder than they thought. With limited funds and no significant traction, they brought in a third co-founder, Nathan Blakharczyk, who was a coder. Together, they worked tirelessly on the website, trying to attract more users. But people were skeptical. Why would anyone choose to stay in a stranger's home when hotels were the norm? They needed funding, and fast. The 2008 presidential election presented an unusual opportunity by selling cereal. Yes, you heard that right. They created special edition cereal boxes called Obama O's and what Captain McCain's, and sold them at $40 each, raising $30,000. This odd fundraising method caught the attention of Y Combinator, one of Silicon Valley's most prestigious startup accelerators, which decided to invest in their company. Triwa, the pivot that changed everything. Even after getting into Y Combinator, Airbnb struggled to grow. People weren't interested in renting air mattresses. That's when they made a critical pivot. They opened the platform to allow people to rent out entire homes or apartments, not just a bed. This broadened their market significantly. Now, it wasn't just about providing a cheap place to crash. It was about offering unique and affordable accommodations for travelers looking for an alternative to hotels. But how do you build trust in a platform that relies on scaling to global heights? With a refined platform and more users, Airbnb started to grow rapidly. However, it wasn't just about expanding in the US. Brian, Joe, and Nathan had global ambitions. They wanted to disrupt the entire hospitality industry. Their first international expansion was in Europe, where they partnered with local photographers to take high-quality photos of Airbnb listings, making the homes look more appealing to potential guests. Soon, Airbnb became known for offering more than just places to stay. Travelers could now book unique experiences, staying in castles, tree houses, or even igloos. They tapped into the human desire for adventure and novelty, all while keeping costs low compared to traditional hotels. Disrupting the hotel industry. As Airbnb grew, it started to catch the attention of the hotel industry, which initially dismissed the company as a niche player. But as more people turned to Airbnb for unique, affordable stays, hotels began to feel the pressure. The traditional hospitality model was being disrupted. Airbnb gave travelers more choices, greater flexibility, and often a more personal experience. It wasn't long before legal challenges arose. Cities around the world started to question how Airbnb fit into their regulations. Should hosts be considered like hotels and pay taxes? The company faced lawsuits, regulatory battles, and backlash from traditional operating while ensuring safety and fairness for both hosts and guests. Airbnb's response to the global pandemic. Airbnb's biggest test came in 2020 when the global pandemic hit. Suddenly, travel stopped. The entire hospitality industry, including Airbnb, was devastated. With bookings plummeting and billions in losses, Brian Chesky had to make tough decisions. They laid off nearly 25% of their workforce, but instead of shrinking, they focused on what they could offer during this difficult time. The company adapted by launching Airbnb online experiences, where people could participate in virtual cooking classes, guided tours, and more from the safety of their homes. They also saw a rise in demand for long-term stays as people sought temporary housing outside of cities. The IPO and beyond. In December 2020, Airbnb made its long-awaited debut on the stock market with one of the most successful IPOs in history despite the pandemic. The company raised billions, showing the world that its business model was resilient and here to stay. Today, Airbnb isn't just a platform for finding a place to stay. It's a global community of hosts and travelers where ordinary people can make extra income by sharing their homes. With over 4 million hosts and 1 billion guest arrivals across 220 countries, Airbnb has become a symbol of how a simple idea can disrupt an entire industry and change the way we travel. Conclusion. So how did two guys with air mattresses build a billion-dollar business? They embraced a simple idea, adapted to challenges, and never stopped innovating. Airbnb's story is a reminder that the next big disruption can come from the simplest of ideas, if you're willing to take the leap. Thanks for watching. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe to Success Craft for more incredible business